The year is 2024. Electric vehicle stocks have crashed by 90%. Lithium prices are in freefall, and economists are asking, are we witnessing the birth of the next great economic bubble? What if I told you that the same forces that created the dot-com bubble of the late 90s might be building toward another catastrophic crash? But this time, it's not about websites and email. It's about the future of our planet itself. Over the past 5 years, trillions of dollars have poured into clean energy, electric vehicles, and climate technology. The promise? A complete transformation of the global economy. The risk? That we're repeating the same mistakes that led to some of the most spectacular financial crashes in history. Today, we're diving deep into what experts are calling the green bubble. We'll explore whether this massive shift toward clean energy represents the future of prosperity or the next economic disaster waiting to happen. To understand the green bubble, we first need to understand what makes any economic bubble so dangerous. From Dutch tulip mania in the 1600s to the dot-com crash of 2000, bubbles share common characteristics: rapid price increases, excessive optimism, widespread use of debt, and the dangerous belief that this time is different. Take World Water and Solar Technologies. In 2007, their stock shot from 5 cents to $2.50 in just months. By the end of the year, 29 cents. This wasn't an outlier. It was a preview of what was coming. But here's where it gets complicated. Unlike tulips or early internet companies, the technologies driving today's green economy aren't just speculative ventures. They're reshaping the fundamental infrastructure of civilization itself. The numbers are staggering. The energy sector alone accounts for over 75% of global greenhouse gas emissions. To transform this system, the European Union estimates it needs an additional 350 billion euros every single year until 2030. This isn't just about building some wind turbines. We're talking about rewiring the entire global economy, from how we generate electricity to how we heat our homes, from how we travel to how we manufacture everything around us. What we're witnessing is unprecedented. This isn't just technological innovation. It's a complete restructuring of the economic foundation that has powered human civilization for over 150 years. And with that kind of transformation comes enormous risk. When you're moving trillions of dollars at breakneck speed, driven by a combination of government mandates, environmental urgency, and investor optimism, the potential for miscalculation becomes enormous. The parallels to the dot-com bubble are impossible to ignore. Low interest rates, technological optimism, and a growth over profits mentality that sounds eerily familiar. In the late 90s, investors poured money into companies with no clear path to profitability, convinced that the internet would change everything. Today, we see the same pattern with electric vehicle startups and battery companies trading at sky-high valuations despite massive losses. But here's the crucial difference that bubble skeptics point to. The internet was primarily a digital phenomenon. Climate change is a physical, unavoidable reality that's reshaping policy, regulation, and consumer behavior, whether investors believe in it or not. Unlike the speculative dot-com boom, the green transition is backed by massive, long-term government commitments. The Inflation Reduction Act alone represents hundreds of billions in climate investments. The European Green Deal commits the entire EU to carbon neutrality by 2050. The question isn't whether this transition will happen. It's happening with or without speculative investment. The question is whether the financial markets can handle the volatility that comes with such a massive economic shift. But the warning signs are already flashing. Electric vehicle stocks that soared during the pandemic have crashed by 80 to 90% from their peaks. Lithium prices have collapsed, and investors are starting to ask hard questions about fundamentals. Then there's the supply chain problem. The clean energy transition has created a new form of geopolitical risk. China controls 60% of the world's clean energy technology production and dominates rare earth mineral processing. We've traded dependence on oil-producing nations for dependence on mineral-rich ones. And unlike oil, which can be stockpiled, many of these supply chains are fragile, concentrated, and vulnerable to political disruption. This creates what researchers call greenflation, where the prices of green transition components rise due to intense competition for resources, even as the cost of the underlying technologies decreases. It's a completely new form of economic vulnerability. Perhaps nowhere is the speculation more obvious than in carbon credit markets. This rapidly growing sector is plagued by what experts call call a triple threat: integrity risks, delivery risks, and value risks. Projects that claim carbon reductions that would have happened anyway, forest preservation credits that get wiped out by wildfires, direct air capture facilities that face years-long delays due to technology integration issues. When you add it all up, overvaluation, supply chain vulnerabilities, policy dependence, and integrity issues, you start to see the outlines of a potential crisis. Here's where things get really complicated. The same government policies that are driving the green transition are also creating new risks. Subsidies and tax credits make green projects financially viable, but they can also create artificial demand and encourage overinvestment. When governments pick winners and losers in the market, the potential for misallocation of resources increases dramatically. Economists have a term for this: zombie companies, firms that are only viable because of government support. When that support changes or disappears, you can see rapid market corrections, and policy support can change quickly with elections, budget constraints, and shifting public opinion. Central banks are caught in a particularly difficult position. They recognize that climate change poses systemic risks to financial stability, but they also worry that acting too aggressively could inadvertently harm the transition they're trying to support. This creates what researchers call analysis paralysis, where policymakers wait for more clarity before acting, potentially missing the window to manage risk before it's too late. But there's a compelling counter-argument to the bubble theory. What if the real risk isn't in green investments, but in traditional, brown assets that are becoming increasingly vulnerable to climate change? Carbon-intensive industries face mounting risks from extreme weather events, regulatory changes, and shifting consumer preferences. In this view, traditional investments are the brown banana peel that investors are likely to slip on. Consider this example. The Bank of America Tower in New York spent $16 million on green retrofits. The result? $1 million in annual energy savings, a clear, measurable return on investment. This isn't speculation. This is math. Multiple studies now show that many sustainable funds are delivering stronger returns than traditional benchmarks. Companies with higher renewable energy usage show measurable performance gains. We're seeing a fundamental inversion of the traditional risk-reward profile. What was once considered alternative and risky is becoming mainstream and necessary. What was once considered safe and stable is looking increasingly vulnerable. But what would happen if there was a green bubble crash? The consequences could extend far beyond financial markets, because the clean energy transition is so interconnected with global supply chains and government policy. A major correction could create cascading effects. Failed clean tech companies could trigger broader credit crunches. Delayed climate projects could leave economies more vulnerable to physical climate risks. Perhaps most concerning, a crash could halt investment in climate adaptation for developing countries, which need over $1 trillion per year to prepare for climate change impacts. Here's the sobering reality. One report from the Institute and Faculty of Actuaries suggests that without urgent climate action, the global economy could face a 50% loss in GDP between 2070 and 2090 due to catastrophic climate shocks. In other words, the cost of getting this transition wrong might be far greater than the cost of any speculative market correction. So where does this leave us? After analyzing the data and examining the evidence, here's what we can say with confidence. First, yes, there are speculative pockets in the green economy that exhibit classic bubble characteristics. Some companies are overvalued, some projects are overhyped, and some investors are making decisions based on hope rather than fundamentals. Second, this isn't the dot-com bubble. The underlying transition is real, urgent, and backed by unprecedented policy support. Unlike websites that might never turn a profit, solar panels and wind turbines produce measurable physical value. Third, the biggest risk might not be a single catastrophic crash. It's the potential for a series of smaller disruptions that could derail the long-term transition we desperately need. The path forward requires three things: smart policy that provides stability without creating artificial bubbles, rigorous fundamental analysis that separates sustainable businesses from speculative plays, and a focus on long-term value creation over short-term speculation. The truth is, we're in uncharted territory. We're trying to rebuild the foundation of the global economy while it's still running. Some volatility, some failures, and some corrections are probably inevitable. But this transition isn't optional. Climate change is forcing our hand whether we're ready or not. The question isn't whether we'll transform our economy, it's whether we'll do it through careful planning or chaotic market cycles. The green economy isn't just about saving the planet, it's about building a more resilient, more prosperous future. Whether we get there smoothly or through boom and bust cycles might depend on the choices we make right now. What do you think? Are we heading for another bubble burst, or is this transformation different? The data suggests it's more complex than either simple answer. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this analysis helpful, consider subscribing for more deep dives into the forces reshaping our economic future. The green transition is one of the biggest stories of our time, and we're just getting started.